On the agenda tonight, we're going back to 2005. We're going to be taking a look at Sarah McLachlan and Josh Groban, and they're going to be performing Angel. Hello, Phil here from Wings of Pegasus, and welcome to another analysis video. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. So we've had a lot of requests for Sarah and Josh independently, but here they are both together back in 2005 at the Live 8 event, and we are going to be watching the video, or at least attempting to. It might make the video get blocked, in which case I will blur it out, but hopefully it will be okay. But let's get into the performance, and I'm probably going to jump in about halfway, so if you guys want to watch it the whole way through without me interrupting it, as always there's a link in the description below. We're going to have the pitch monitoring software up on screen as well, so that's going to be plotting out the lead vocal of Sarah's and also Josh's, but when they're singing together it does get a little bit confused because there's more than one voice, but let's see how they get on.
Spend all your time waiting for that second chance, for the break that would make it okay. There's always some reason to feel not good enough, and it's hard at the end of the day. I need some distraction, a beautiful release. Memories seep from my veins. Let me be empty, rayless, or maybe I'll find some peace tonight in the arms of the angel. Fly from this dark hotel room and the endlessness that you fear. You are apart from the wreckage of your silent reveries. You're in the arms of some comfort here. You're so tired of the straight line, and everywhere you turn there's vultures and thieves at your back. The storm keeps on twisting, you keep on building the lie that you make up for all that you lack. Don't make no difference escaping one last time. It's easier to believe in this sweet madness, oh, this glorious sadness.
I'm just going to jump in here. First of all, what a song this is, a composition by Sarah, and when you look into that lyrical content, it's one of those songs that has a lot of meaning to it, and I know that she was inspired to write this, and it's to do with drug addiction and the fact that so many people in the public eye, and especially the music industry, turn to drugs, and so many unfortunately do pass away or get into that cycle that they can't get out of. And this is, when you're listening to this song, this is the impression that you get, that Sarah can really relate to this because of the things that she's been through in the industry. And I know that she never turned to drugs herself, but that's the kind of place that she wrote this song from. So it shows that compositional ability, but the songwriting ability that I mention all the time on the channel, that is something totally different. In order to get your thoughts and everything that you want to put across in a song down on paper, but then to be able to communicate that through the song, is exactly what Sarah does here. Just when I'm talking about communicating through the song, it is a stripped back song, and this performance is as well. So it means that we just get to focus on the voices. We've got Josh's voice in there, of course, as well. But the advantage of being an instrumentalist as well as a vocalist is that you can match the dynamics between what you're playing and your voice. So it means that you can sit it in exactly the same place. If you don't play an instrument, it means that you're relying on somebody else to try and match the mood of what you're thinking, especially if you've written a song yourself. You're relying on other musicians to put across the dynamics and the feel through their instruments to match what you're doing vocally, and that doesn't always happen. So this is why it's great to have a singer, songwriter, and instrumentalist that can communicate it all at once rather than relying on other people. And there are great musicians who can do that and who can sit in that spot and get exactly the right feel in a performance. In this example, when she's playing piano, listen to the way that she's playing, the dynamic appreciation that she has, getting into, playing a little bit more softly, then being a little bit more aggressive with it. And this is the thing about the piano. It's not about just pushing the keys down, it's how you push the keys down. And that is what will communicate the emotion, the dynamics through the performance and through the instrument. So we'll jump back to the beginning of the performance, and I've just taken down the backing a little bit so that Sarah's voice is a little bit more prominent.
Spend all your time waiting for that second chance, for the break that would make it okay.
And we've got this really interesting approach from Sarah's vocal delivery where she just turns her tone a little bit darker, actually a little bit more nasality going on. So she's putting a lot of her voice then through the nose and allowing that tone to change from the bright sound of na. So it's almost like blending a hum with the voice. Just balancing those two together. It makes it so unique in sound because of the way that she just throws it in there. She's not singing all the time with that sound, but it's just something that she goes into throughout this performance and just throughout her voice in general. But a really interesting application of technique. I mean, straight away, we have this flip into head voice as well. I say flip, it's this cry, this little break that she just allows her voice to flip up to that head voice space from chest voice that makes it so engaging. But let's listen again.
There's always some reason to feel not good enough.
Great example there. The way that she changes from there's always some reason, and that reason is still quite bright, and then to feel, and then she gets into the nasality there. Again, just have a listen and try and spot it if you can.
There's always some reason to feel not good enough, and it's hard at the end of the day.
And again, allowing that voice to flip up into her head voice. And listen to the end of the phrase. Obviously, when we're looking at the pitch monitoring software, we can see that she's really accurate with her pitch. And you'll see her just, slightly sharp here. But we're always in and around the lines throughout this whole performance. But right at the end, when I'm talking about the dynamics on the piano being matched by the vocal and vice versa, listen to the way that she ends this vocal line.
And it's hard at the end of the day.
Is that la, 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 la. It's a tiny little note at the end, little throwaway, to the point where the pitch monitoring software only just picks up the E4. This is what a great live performance is all about. It's about drawing the audience into your performance and getting them to listen more intently, with particular parts of the song, especially in the verse, you know, before we get into choruses, that's generally where you're going to get more of a vocal cord connection, and you can start to maybe just sit back a little bit, because we're getting a louder sound effectively, not only instrumentally but vocally. But in these verses that are really understated, you lean in because of this really subtle delivery and just that appreciation of dynamic control but dynamic range within Sarah's voice. Another thing to look out for is the way that Sarah uses her breath, and I'm not talking about, you know, taking a diaphragmatic breath, having loads of support and leaning into chest voice and all those kinds of things. I'm talking about having enough breath and air left over to put more expression into her vocal phrases. Let's listen on.
I need some distraction.
And good example there, we actually started with almost a vocal fry where she goes, I need some distraction. And she's got that distraction, and kind of leans into the mic to get that extra expression just with the breath. And this is something that's great for bringing the audience into the performance even more and just putting a little bit more emotion into your vocal, because we do, like I just did there, we do this all the time. You have breathing when you're expressing yourself talking. You will emphasize your breath before certain words, afterwards. And when you start putting that into your singing as well, it's just going to put it in that conversational space. So rather than having, I need some distraction, and just stopping there, distraction, and going, distraction, for some reason, just that breath is going to make it sound like it's got an emotion in there. You're feeling something rather than just cutting it off. The exhalation is that disappointment. It's like almost like a regret, like you need to do something, and whenever you say something that you feel a bit kind of disappointed with or regretful, you say, oh, great example there, I didn't even know I was about to do that, but I just went, oh. And it's just an exhalation of air. You know what I'm about to say is going to be regretful. This is a great way to show that it's natural. We all do this. So when you put it into singing, it's going to connect on a deeper level. So let's have a listen to Josh's voice. And because we are looking at two voices here, this video might go on for a little bit longer than usual, but let's have a look.
You're so tired of the straight line, and everywhere you turn, there's vultures and thieves at your back.
Again, really accurate pitch-wise, but the interesting thing about Josh's voice is the way that he's got this vibrato that sits in this middle place, and I would say that he's got an adaptable vibrato. And what I mean by that is that I've heard Josh sing musical theatre, and I've heard him sing with, you know, contemporary artist Celine Dion. I know that video actually where he performs with Celine is on my request list somewhere, but he has this knack of just balancing his voice in the right place so that his vibrato is even, and it's not too wide, it's not too slow, but it sits in that crossover place. Something I've mentioned about lots of artists in the past is their ability to cross over to multiple genres and have hits in multiple charts. And I've mentioned that about country artists who just have great voices. They seem to have this ability as well. But with Josh, his vibrato can be more dramatic, but when we look at it in the pitch monitoring software, look at how tight it remains.
You're so tired of
So tired of, and that of, you can hear that it's not dramatic at all. It's not so tired of, which you would tend to get more of in musical theatre, and in opera it would be even wider than that because you're putting the drama into the vocal. When I say the vibrato's tight, what I mean is it doesn't cover a lot of pitch. When you go so tired of, when you have that big wave in there, these waves will be going, you know, maybe two semitones, a little bit more than that. But here, You know, we're not even a semitone of vibrato pitch-wise. The tighter it is, the more contemporary it'll sound, and you hear that in the charts all the time. So he just balances vibrato between these places. He also blends his voice really well with Sarah's. When he's got his lead vocal, obviously he leans into it a little bit more, but when he's singing those harmony vocals, he has this lighter head voice quality to it. Even with the notes that would be sitting in his chest register, he's not belting those out. He's not leaning into it too much. He's giving his chest voice a sound of head voice in order to get that really nice blending effect. But let's join it back to where we left it, and we'll watch it until the end.
In the arms of the angel, fly away from here, from this dark hotel room, and the endlessness that you fear. Oh, you are born from the wreckage of your silent reveries. You're in the arms of the angel. May you find some comfort here. You're in the arms of your angel. May you find some comfort Josh Groban, ladies and gentlemen.
And there we have it. It's just two great vocalists. When you're listening at the end there to Sarah's control and the way that she just allows her voice to flip up into that head voice and just plays around with the notes in that space. I'm just going to take it back because throughout that you can listen to the way that, you know, Josh is really lightening up his tone. Interestingly, when they are singing together, they do match each other's dynamic range just with vocal phrases as well, getting a little bit connected at the beginning of the vocal phrase and then going to more of a breathy sound at the end. When we're looking at, let me just take that back because we'll hear the note.
You're in the arms of your angel.
Again, just flipping up to that head voice, such control. But when we're looking at this vibrato, I know that we are slightly sharp of the B4, but the vibrato is really similar. If that was on the B4, I mean, it's going to be exactly the same, regardless of the pitch that we're hitting. The range that we're covering pitch-wise with the vibrato is really similar to Josh's voice. And I would say that this is just Sarah's natural voice. This is just her vibrato where it sits. But I think Josh just has this ability to probably subconsciously match what he's singing with, because great singers do that. They can change their voice without thinking, oh, because Sarah's voice, you know, might cover, say for example, 50 cents pitch either side of a note, you know, that might be how wide her vibrato is. Josh isn't thinking, okay, right, let me try and get my vibrato to 50 cents exactly either side of a B4. It's just something that he naturally does to blend with the other vocalist, and this is what you'll find with great a cappella groups as well. They blend not only dynamically, but they start to match each other's expression with vibrato. Just to give a quick example of that, imagine somebody singing a note and they're going, no, and they've got that kind of subtle vibrato in there, and somebody else is going, and they've got that vibrato in there. When you put those on top of each other, they're going to sound ridiculous, because one, I might try some editing after this and put those two, and they might harmonize with each other, who knows, but you'll be able to hear the difference between blending one type of vibrato with another, and how sometimes it just doesn't work. And you can have singers that do that. They don't change how they sing when they're singing with other people, so it just doesn't match. They might be hitting all the notes, but it sounds bad because they're not matching the expression of the vibrato. So you can have and hopefully those two, I'll try and edit those two together, whether they sound in tune with each other or harmonize with each other, who knows. But hopefully they blend a little bit better that second time because I'm matching the vibrato. But this video could go on for years, and it probably already has, but what a great performance here, and what a great composition. I think this was in the charts, or #1 in the adult contemporary charts in 1999 for 12 weeks, which made it the #1 song for that year in the adult contemporary charts. And it got to #4 in the mainstream charts, but it's just a huge hit worldwide, and it's been covered so many times as well. But thank you guys for requesting this video for me to take a look at, and keep the suggestions and requests coming in the comment section below. As always, let me know what you guys think, and if you did enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and I'll see you guys at the next one. Rock!